Welcome to English Meow. Do you want to speak English? Do you want to understand people when they speak English? Do you want to feel good when you talk to someone in English? In this video, I will tell you how to learn English in your sleep. I will also tell you how you can improve your English while sleeping, too. It is simple. It is possible. And it is fun. Stay with me. Let us start. Learning English is not easy, and many people try different methods to improve their skills. Some people study English for hours every day, while others try listening to music, watching movies, or reading books in English. But what if there was a way to learn English while you are asleep? This might sound impossible, but recent research has shown that it is possible to improve your language skills while you sleep. When we sleep, our brains are still active, processing information and memories from the day. Scientists have discovered that our brains can continue learning during sleep, especially when it comes to language. This means that if you listen to English while you are falling asleep, your brain may start to recognize new words and phrases, even without you being fully awake. It is not a magical way to become fluent overnight, but it can help you improve your English over time. The first step to learning English in your sleep is to create an environment that encourages learning while you rest. One of the most effective ways to do this is to listen to English audio, such as podcasts, audiobooks, or language lessons while you sleep. This may sound strange, but the idea is that your brain will start to pick up the sounds and patterns of English while you rest. It is important to choose content that is easy for you to understand, so your brain can absorb the information more easily. You can also use language learning apps that offer audio lessons for sleep. These apps often play English phrases, vocabulary, and sentences repeatedly so your brain can hear them over and over again. As you sleep, your brain will begin to recognize the sounds, rhythm, and pronunciation of the words. The more you listen, the more familiar these words will become, helping you improve your vocabulary and listening skills. While you sleep, your brain is in a relaxed state, making it easier to absorb information. This is why it is important to choose audio that is calming and not too fast. If the audio is too fast or difficult to understand, your brain may become overwhelmed and you might not benefit as much. Slow, clear, and simple English content works best for learning in your sleep. Listening to English while you sleep also helps with pronunciation. When you hear words being spoken repeatedly, your brain starts to remember how to pronounce them correctly. Over time, you may notice that your pronunciation improves and you begin to speak more clearly. It's like your brain is practicing the sounds of English even when you are not aware of it. One of the reasons that learning English in your sleep can be effective is because of a process called sleep learning or hypnopedia. This is the idea that your brain can absorb information even when you are not conscious of it. While there is still some debate about how much our brains can actually learn during sleep, there is evidence that listening to certain types of audio can help reinforce what you've already learned during the day. For example, if you study new vocabulary during the day and then listen to a recording of these words at night, your brain can strengthen the connections between the words and their meanings. It is like reviewing what you learned while you sleep, which can help you remember the words better. Your brain will also begin to recognize patterns in the language, such as sentence structure and grammar, which will make it easier for you to understand and use English in real conversations. However, it is important to remember that learning English in your sleep is not a replacement for active learning during the day. You still need to practice speaking, writing, reading, and listening to English regularly. Listening to English while you sleep is just an extra tool to help you improve. It's similar to how you might use flashcards or write down new words to review what you have learned. The more exposure you get to English, the better your skills will become. Another way to improve your English while you sleep is by using sleep programming. This involves listening to specific English phrases or sentences that you want to remember. Some people create their own sleep programs by recording sentences or words that they want to learn. For example, if you are trying to remember how to introduce yourself in English, you could record sentences like, "Hi, my name is," or "I am from," and listen to them while you sleep. By hearing these phrases repeatedly, your brain will start to remember them and be able to use them when you need them. While it is important to note that sleep learning will not make you fluent in English, it can help reinforce what you have learned and make it easier to remember new vocabulary. It is like giving your brain a little extra help when you are not actively studying. Over time, this extra exposure to English will help you feel more confident when speaking and understanding the language. It's also important to create the right conditions for sleep learning. Listening to English while you sleep can be helpful, but it is most effective when you have a good sleep environment. Try to ensure that your room is quiet, dark, and comfortable so that you can get the best rest. If your sleep is disturbed or you are not getting enough rest, your brain may not be able to process the information as effectively. In addition to listening to English while you sleep, there are other ways to maximize your learning experience during the night. For example, You can try listening to English audio just before going to bed. Research has shown that your brain continues to process information during the first 30 minutes to an hour after you fall asleep. This means that if you listen to English right before sleeping, your brain may still be able to absorb some of the information during the initial stages of sleep. You can also use this time to practice English phrases and conversations that you find difficult. If you struggle with ordering food in English or making small talk, you can listen to audio that focuses on these specific areas. By exposing yourself to these types of conversations before sleep, your brain will have time to reinforce the information, making it easier for you to remember when you need it the next day. One helpful technique is to create an English sleep playlist. This can include different types of English audio, such as conversations, vocabulary lists, or grammar lessons. You can mix up the content to cover various areas of English, including speaking, listening, and vocabulary. Having a playlist that is tailored to your learning goals can keep your sleep learning process focused and effective. The more variety in your audio, the more you can learn from different aspects of the language. As you continue to practice this method, you may start to notice improvements in your English skills. For example, you might find that you are able to remember new words more easily, or you might notice that you are more confident speaking English in the morning. The key to making this work is consistency. Like any form of language learning, you need to be patient and stick with it. The more often you listen to English, the more you will improve. Even small changes, such as remembering a new word or phrase in your sleep, can make a big difference in the long run. Another important aspect of learning English in your sleep is the power of repetition. The more times you listen to the same words or phrases, the stronger the connections in your brain will become. Repetition is one of the best ways to reinforce what you've learned, and hearing the same content while you sleep can help solidify this knowledge. You can repeat the same audio every night, or create a new playlist with different content each time. The key is to expose yourself to the language regularly. It's also helpful to make sure that the content you listen to is something you enjoy. If you enjoy the material, you will be more likely to continue using it. For example, if you love listening to stories, you could try listening to English audiobooks or podcasts. If you enjoy music, you can listen to songs in English while you sleep. The more you enjoy the content, the more likely you are to stay engaged in the learning process. While listening to English while you sleep can help you improve your language skills, it is important to remember that it is not a magic solution. It works best when combined with other active forms of learning. For example, During the day, you should focus on practicing, speaking, writing, and reading English. This will help you apply the words and phrases that you hear while you sleep in real situations. Listening is an important part of language learning, but it needs to be paired with active practice to really improve your skills. In addition to listening to English at night, try speaking English during the day as much as possible. Even if you are not yet fluent, speaking helps reinforce what you hear and remember. Find opportunities to use the words and phrases you are learning. For example, you can talk to yourself in English, order food in English at a restaurant, or chat with friends who speak English. The more you speak, the more comfortable you will become with the language. Another important aspect of learning English is building your vocabulary. The more words you know, the easier it will be to understand conversations and express yourself. Listening to English at night can help you learn new words, but you also need to study vocabulary regularly. You can do this by using flashcards, reading books, or writing down new words you encounter. By actively learning new vocabulary, you will build a strong foundation for understanding and speaking English. Grammar is also a key part of learning any language. While listening to English while you sleep can help with your listening and pronunciation skills, it is important to study grammar separately. There are many resources available, including textbooks, online courses, and grammar apps that can help you understand how English sentences are structured. Once you understand the basic grammar rules, you can start applying them when speaking and writing. It is also helpful to set realistic goals for yourself. Learning a language takes time, and it's important to be patient with your progress. Start by setting small goals, like learning 10 new words a week or practicing speaking for 15 minutes each day. As you achieve these small goals, you will build your confidence and feel motivated to continue learning. Remember, language learning is a long-term process, and every little bit of progress counts. Finally, make sure you are enjoying the process. Language learning should be fun, not stressful. Find ways to make learning English exciting. You can watch English movies, listen to English music, or read books that interest you. The more enjoyable the process is, the more likely you are to stick with it. It's also important to celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Every new word you learn, every conversation you have in English, and every improvement in your pronunciation is something to be proud of. As you continue to learn English, you may begin to notice some challenges. Learning a language can be difficult at times, and you might feel frustrated if you don't see immediate results. However, it is important to remember that learning English is a gradual process, and small steps lead to big progress. Even if you feel like you are not improving as quickly as you want, know that your brain is still working hard to absorb the language, especially when you are listening while you sleep. It is common for language learners to experience periods of doubt, especially when they feel like they are not making progress. If this happens to you, try to stay positive and remind yourself of how far you have come. You are improving each day, even if it is not always immediately obvious. The key is to stay consistent with your learning and trust the process. Learning English requires patience, persistence, and practice, so don't be discouraged by temporary setbacks. One thing to remember is that making mistakes is a natural part of learning a language. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. Instead of focusing on the mistakes, try to learn from them and use them as opportunities to improve. If you make a mistake while speaking, don't be afraid to correct yourself and continue the conversation. Over time, you will become more comfortable with the language, and the mistakes will become less frequent. If you feel like you are not improving as much as you hoped, it might be helpful to change your approach. Sometimes, learning a language can feel like a repetitive process, and it can be easy to get stuck in a routine. If this happens, try to switch things up and find new ways to practice. For example, you can try different types of English content, such as watching documentaries or listening to podcasts about topics that interest you. This will expose you to new vocabulary and sentence structures, keeping your learning experience fresh and exciting. Additionally, consider joining language exchange groups or finding a language partner to practice speaking with. Speaking with others in English will help you improve your fluency and boost your confidence. Having conversations in English will also help you learn how to think in English, making it easier for you to express yourself in real-life situations. Another effective way to stay motivated is by setting clear, measurable goals. For example, you can aim to learn a certain number of new words each week, watch an English movie without subtitles, or have a 10-minute conversation in English every day. Having specific goals will keep you focused and help you track your progress. Celebrate each achievement, no matter how small, and use it as motivation to keep going. Lastly, remember that learning English is a journey that never truly ends. Even after you reach a certain level of proficiency, there will always be new things to learn. You can continue to improve your language skills throughout your life by staying curious and practicing regularly. The more you expose yourself to English, the better you will become. By now, you've probably noticed that learning English is not just about memorizing words or grammar rules. It's about using the language every day and making it a natural part of your life. Listening to English while you sleep is a great tool, but it works best when combined with other practices. Whether you are listening, speaking, reading, or writing, each activity plays a role in your language development. As you continue to practice English, you will start to notice improvements not only in your language skills, but also in your confidence. When you first start learning a language, it can feel intimidating, especially if you are afraid of making mistakes. However, as you progress, you will become more comfortable speaking and using English in different situations. This confidence will help you communicate more easily. Whether you are speaking to a friend, ordering food in a restaurant, or traveling to an English-speaking country, the key to long-term success is consistency. Learning a language, especially in your sleep, requires regular practice. Make it a habit to listen to English before you go to bed. And don't be afraid to incorporate other language learning activities into your daily routine. Whether it's reading a book, watching a movie, or writing in English, every little bit of practice will help. You don't have to spend hours each day. Just a few minutes every day can make a huge difference. In addition, it is important to keep your language learning enjoyable. If you enjoy the process, you will be more likely to stick with it. Choose content that excites you, whether it's watching your favorite shows in English, reading books that interest you, or listening to podcasts about topics you love. Learning English shouldn't feel like a chore. It should be something that adds joy to your day. It's also helpful to set new challenges for yourself. If you feel like you've mastered one aspect of English, challenge yourself to learn something new. For example, you could focus on improving your pronunciation, mastering more complex grammar rules, or learning vocabulary related to a specific topic like business or travel. By setting new goals, you will keep your learning experience fresh and motivating. Finally, remember that learning English is a journey, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. Progress may seem slow at times, but every effort you make counts. By practicing regularly, staying patient, and using tools like sleep learning, you will improve your English skills over time. Keep pushing yourself to learn, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you practice, the more you will grow as a speaker and listener. In the end, learning English in your sleep is just one of many ways to improve your language skills. Combine it with active learning during the day, and you will find yourself speaking and understanding English with more confidence than ever before. So, keep learning, keep practicing, and enjoy the journey.